officials are reporting a mass casualty incident at the U.S. Steel Clairton plant.
Picture this. A quiet American town where the only sound used to be the roar of coal trains. Docks that once shook under the weight of millions of tons of fuel are now empty. Families who for 3 generations relied on one industry, suddenly staring into an uncertain future. This isn't a scene from a documentary. It's unfolding right now. U.S. steel-related coal exports have just collapsed by a jaw-dropping 94%, wiping out billions, shattering contracts, and leaving entire communities on the edge of shutdown. But the most shocking part? It all started with a single $1.5 million docking fee. Coal in America was never just fuel. For over a century, it was the beating heart of industrial power. U.S. coal didn't sit at home. It traveled the world. It powered steel mills in Asia, kept factories alive in Europe, and built roads, skylines, and railways across continents. Every skyscraper that pierced the sky, every bridge that stretched across rivers. Many of them carried the fingerprint of American coal. Even when coal's role inside the U.S. began fading, when wind turbines, solar farms, and cleaner energy began to take over, coal found a new life overseas. Power plants were closing in Ohio and Pennsylvania. That didn't stop producers. They pivoted. They turned outward. Foreign buyers became the lifeline. India, South Korea, parts of Europe. These places still needed coal for steel making and heavy industry. To American miners and exporters, these overseas markets weren't just customers. They were hope. They were survival. For a while, the plan worked. Ships loaded with black fuel sailed to Asia and Europe. Trains thundered across the U.S. hauling coal to the docks. Miners kept their jobs. Small towns survived. The belief was simple. As long as someone somewhere needed coal, America would keep digging. But early in 2025, small cracks appeared in this carefully built system. Shipments that were once routine were suddenly delayed. Long-standing contracts began slipping. Buyers who once trusted U.S. coal started asking, can we really count on America anymore? And then, without warning, the entire safety net snapped. Within months, exports didn't just decline, they collapsed. Down 94% almost overnight. Coal trains stopped running. Terminals fell silent. Warehouses overflowed with unsold black mountains of fuel. Yet the coal itself wasn't worthless. It was still high quality, still in demand. The failure wasn't about coal. It was about politics, tariffs, and Washington's decisions that had little to do with the miners or exporters themselves. So what triggered this disaster? The answer lies in one shocking policy out of Washington. In early 2025, the U.S. government slapped a massive $1.5 million docking fee on every foreign cargo ship built in Chinese shipyards docking at American ports. On paper, it sounded bold, part of a bigger trade battle with China. The message was, America will no longer depend on China. But in reality, it was a direct hit on America's own coal exports. Why? Because most of the world's cargo ships, the very vessels carrying millions of tons of U.S. coal, are built in China. These weren't just ships bringing electronics or clothes. They were the lifeline of American exports. By targeting those ships, Washington unintentionally cut off its own supply routes. Ship owners reacted instantly. Faced with skyrocketing costs, many simply refused to dock in America. Others rerouted to safer harbors. Some canceled contracts outright. And the buyers? They couldn't afford uncertainty. Nations like India, South Korea, and even European steelmakers quickly shifted to other suppliers, Australia, Indonesia, or Russia, who offered coal without the drama, without the surprise fees. Ports that once echoed with the sound of loading cargo grew eerily silent. Trains stopped hauling coal to the coast. Small towns that had survived for decades on export contracts suddenly faced extinction. The industry didn't collapse because coal lost value. It collapsed because America lost its ability to deliver. Now imagine this on the ground. You're a miner in West Virginia. Your father worked these mines. Your grandfather too. Coal wasn't just a job, it was the lifeline of your family. But one morning your supervisor tells you, we're shutting down. No shipments, no contracts, no work. That's not just a paycheck lost. That's a community unraveling. Local diners close, truckers stop running, schools feel the budget cuts. Small towns that once thrived around coal are now bracing for a future with no safety net. It's a domino effect. When coal stops, everything else in these towns stops too. And here's the deeper wound. It's not just about coal, it's about trust. Global buyers want certainty. They don't gamble on maybe. They want fuel delivered on time every time. And America, once seen as reliable, has now become unpredictable. For steel mills in South Korea or power plants in India, the math is simple. Why wait on American coal when you can get guaranteed shipments from Australia or Indonesia? Once buyers switch, they rarely come back. And so, almost quietly, the U.S. coal export empire, built over decades, collapsed in a matter of months. Docks stand empty. Warehouses overflow. Workers go home with no shifts to cover. Contracts vanish. Competitors rise. What was supposed to be a powerful trade weapon against China ended up striking at the heart of America's own industry. A move designed to show strength instead revealed vulnerability. And the most dangerous part? The world is moving on. Today, the question isn't just about coal. It's bigger. If America's coal industry can fall apart this fast, what's next? Could steel, oil, agriculture, industries that also rely on global shipping, be one policy mistake away from disaster? This coal collapse might only be the first domino. And in the next phase, we'll uncover how America's rivals are racing to fill the gap, and why this shift could change the balance of global trade for decades to come. But the decline of coal is more than just numbers on a chart. It's a human story that cuts across generations. Think about a miner who started working at 18, just like his father and grandfather before him. For decades, his paycheck paid the mortgage, put food on the table, and sent his kids to school. Coal wasn't just a job. It was a promise. A promise that if you worked hard, you'd have stability. That promise is breaking. Families that once felt secure now face uncertainty with every paycheck. Retirement plans are on hold. College savings accounts are being emptied just to cover bills. The fear of losing health insurance haunts workers whose jobs vanish overnight. And behind every statistic is a child watching their parents worry about how to pay the next month's rent. The ripple effect goes further. When coal workers lose jobs, whole communities lose their lifeblood. Property values fall as people move away. Main Street businesses close down. Volunteer fire departments, funded by donations, struggle to keep operating. Even schools face teacher layoffs because tax revenue dries up. It's a cycle of decline that no one in these regions voted for. Yet they're forced to live it every single day. And while coal is fading, there isn't always something new to replace it. Renewable energy jobs are growing, yes, but they aren't growing fast enough in these regions. The solar farms and wind turbines are often built far from coal country. Training programs sound great in speeches, but in reality they often fail to prepare older workers who've spent decades in one specialized industry. For many, switching from underground mining to solar installation isn't as simple as politicians make it sound. Meanwhile, other nations are pulling ahead. Countries like China, Germany, and even India are pouring billions into renewables, building the industries of the future while America clings to the past. Those nations aren't just creating jobs, they're capturing global markets. The world that once bought American coal is now buying solar panels, batteries, and wind turbines from somewhere else. The U.S. risks losing not only coal, but the chance to lead the next energy revolution. That's the real danger, falling behind. Because energy isn't just about electricity. It's about power, influence, and national security. The countries that control the future of energy will shape global politics for decades to come. If the U.S. doesn't make the leap, it won't just lose jobs. It could lose its edge as a global leader. So here's the uncomfortable truth. The coal era is ending, whether America is ready or not. The question is what comes next. Will there be investment in rebuilding these communities? Will the same workers who kept the lights on for generations finally be given a real path forward? Or will they be abandoned, left to watch their towns crumble while the rest of the world moves on? The answers aren't clear. But one thing is certain: ignoring the problem won't make it go away. The energy transition is already happening. The only choice left is whether to fight against it and be left behind, or to embrace it and build something new. And that brings us to you. If you've made it this far, you already know the truth most people are still ignoring. Coal isn't just an energy source. It's a collapsing system that will change the future of America forever. The question is, who will rise when coal falls? If you want to be among the first to see where this story goes next, before it hits the mainstream, then hit that subscribe button right now, because the videos we're dropping next aren't just stories. They're glimpses into the future. And trust me, you don't want to be the one who hears about it last, after everyone else has already seen it here. So smash that like, subscribe, and share this with someone who still thinks coal can make a comeback, because the future is coming and it waits for no one.